I remember the night very clearly because it was the last normal night of my life. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I finally left my office. I had been working late that day, and the streets outside were almost completely empty. The city felt different at night, quieter, colder, almost like something was watching from the darkness. I walked toward the bus stop near the corner of the street. Normally, the last bus passed around midnight, so I didn't expect to see anything. But then I noticed headlights slowly approaching through the fog. A bus. It rolled to a stop right in front of me. The doors opened with a loud metallic hiss. I hesitated for a second, but then I stepped inside. The bus was dimly lit, and the air inside felt strangely cold. There were only 3 passengers sitting in the back. None of them looked at me. They were all sitting perfectly still. The driver didn't say anything either. I walked down the aisle and sat near the middle of the bus. As the bus started moving again, I noticed something strange. The engine made almost no sound. It was like the bus was gliding across the road instead of driving. For a few minutes, everything was silent. The only sound was the faint humming of the bus lights above me. Eventually, I leaned forward and asked the driver, "Does this bus go to City Center?" The driver didn't answer immediately. He just kept driving. Then, slowly, he looked at me through the rear-view mirror. There was something strange about his eyes. They looked tired, almost empty. After a few seconds, he said something that made my stomach tighten. "You shouldn't be on this bus." I laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" But the driver didn't answer. Instead, he simply looked back at the road. The bus kept moving through the dark streets. I glanced out the windshield. That's when I noticed something else. The road outside looked unfamiliar. The buildings were gone. The streetlights were gone. All I could see outside was dark fog, just endless darkness. I suddenly felt uneasy, so I turned around to look at the passengers behind me. All 3 of them were staring at me, not blinking, not moving, just staring. Their faces looked pale, almost gray. Their eyes looked too large, and their smiles stretched across their faces in a way that didn't look human. My heart started beating faster. I quickly turned back toward the front. "Driver, stop the bus!" My voice sounded shaky, but the driver didn't slow down. In fact, the bus seemed to start moving faster. I stood up and walked toward the front door, but when I looked outside the windshield, my chest tightened. The road had completely disappeared. The bus wasn't driving on a road anymore. It was moving through a thick ocean of dark fog, like the world outside no longer existed. I turned back again. The passengers had stood up, all 3 of them, and they were slowly walking toward me. Their movements were slow and unnatural, like their bodies didn't quite work the way they should. One of them tilted its head sideways, and in a soft whisper it said something that made my blood run cold. "You're not supposed to be here yet." I backed away until I reached the driver's seat. "Stop the bus!" I shouted. The driver finally spoke again, but his voice sounded almost calm. "Relax." Then he pointed ahead through the fog. "Your stop is coming." I followed his finger and looked outside. Far ahead in the fog, I saw something. A bus stop sign. standing completely alone in the darkness. No road, no buildings, just the sign. The bus slowly came to a stop. The doors opened. Cold air rushed inside. The driver looked at me one last time, and then he said quietly, "You're lucky. Most people don't get off this bus." I didn't ask any questions. I just ran out the door as fast as I could. The moment my feet touched the ground, the bus doors slammed shut behind me. The bus drove forward into the fog and disappeared. I stood there alone for a long time, just staring into the darkness. The next morning, I tried to find that bus route again, but according to city records, that route was closed 10 years ago after a bus accident that killed everyone on board, including the driver.